All aboard! The train gonna leave.
The Hoosac Tunnel is located in North Adams, Massachusetts and Florida, Massachusetts. Basically, they blasted a hole right through the Hoosac Mountains, Hoosic, which is 4.74 miles long. Now, the Hoosac Tunnel lies between the Deerfield River on the east and the Hoosac River on the west. And did you know these beautiful mountains were once home to the Mohawk Indians? This whole project began as far back as 1819, when this originally was going to be a canal system that connected Massachusetts to Albany, New York. And after it was surveyed around 1825, they threw out the whole idea because it was just a little bit too costly. The Troy Greenfield line was chartered in 1848. But on January 8th, 1851, land and ground was broken here to start the tunnel right here in North Adams, Massachusetts, right at the west portal. The Hoosac Tunnel was completed for its first freight train to go through on July 1st, 1876. Now, the 25 years it took to build this magnificent tunnel, there were a total of 195 deaths during construction of the tunnel and 30 deaths thereafter. Now, these deaths were all along the entire construction route here, from fires, explosions, cave-ins. It was also by people's own hands. Now, I want to tell you just a little story here about someone that killed somebody else here. There were three men. They were explosive experts. One was a Mr. Brinkham, one was a Mr. Nash, and one was Ringo Kelly. And that's how I remembered his name. All three of them walked into the tunnel to do their job. They used nitroglycerin to blow the rock to have it carried out to complete this tunnel that we're standing in. They were at their job getting ready to detonate the nitroglycerin. Now, they had bunkers, these walls that they went behind to save them from the collapsing rocks and the debris after the explosion. Mr. Brinkham, Mr. Nash, and Ringo Kelly put the drill house in, put the nitro in. They were all to walk back behind the bunker and detonate. What had happened was Ringo Kelly went behind the bunker, and for some odd reason, he detonated the nitro. Mr. Brinkham and Mr. Nash were buried alive under tons of rock and debris. Well, a short time later, Ringo Kelly left town. No one saw him at all, and they were beginning to wonder that maybe there was something to the actual explosion, like he did it himself. But 1 year to the date, 1 year and 1 day to the date, guess what they found? They found Ringo Kelly at the site of the explosion, the exact site, strangled to death. Now, what was really odd about this whole thing was Sheriff Charlie F. Gibson said the murder or the strangulation or the death occurred between 12 midnight and 3:30 a.m. They had over 900 workers here working 3 shifts, 8-hour shifts, around the clock to complete this tunnel. No one saw Ringo Kelly. No one matched the prints around his strangled neck. This is still an unsolved murder. Many of the people believed and the workers thought that, and this is what's crazy, is that the ghost of Mr. Brinkham and Mr. Nash strangled Ringo Kelly. At just the mere thought of that, it almost shut this tunnel down completely because everyone quit. That's just one of the reasons why we're coming into this tunnel. I'm going to tell the other ones on our journey inside. I also want to let you know that we did contact several paranormal groups, some out in this area of North Adams, some from Boston, Massachusetts. We couldn't even find a layperson that wanted to come with us when they found out where we were going, because they would say to us, that place is haunted. Well, why do you think we're here? We're here because it's haunted, because of all of the deaths and the suffering that occurred in this tunnel. And what I'm going to try to do today is to heal and to comfort the souls that died during the construction of the Hoosac Tunnel. Oh, and by the way, the Mohawk Indians had a word for this whole region, the mountains. It was called Hoosac, H-O-O-S-I-C. And in the Mohawk Indian language, that meant forbidden. I wonder if they knew something the workers didn't. Is we are wired for sound. We have our sounding equipment on, and we're going to keep it on the entire journey from one end, the west portal, all the way to the center shaft, to the east portal on the other end. So we're going to walk this tunnel real quiet. We want to hear voices, ghosts, spirits. We want to see what noises lie within this 4.174 mile tunnel. We're about a mile in right now. Where we're going is we're going halfway, which is a little over 2 miles, not quite 2.5 miles. We're going to the center shaft. They also call the center shaft the Bloody Pit. They also call it the Hoosac Hotel, because it's an area that was cleared out when they made the center shaft. And it's also used by walkers that walk this 5-mile tunnel. And they used to sit and rest before they continued on their way. That's where we're going. The story has it that this accident happened in the center shaft. And what it was the center shaft was originally made to pump water out of the tunnel as they were building it, because it would fill up with water, because you remember, on the east we have the Deerfield River, and on the west we have the Hoosic River. And later on, the central shaft was used to pump air into this area for people that, either walked or until they completed the tunnel. And the trains that went by needed oxygen to burn their fuel. One time, 13 men were in a basket with sharpened tools ready to come on down and continue building that center shaft. There was some flammable material that they used at that time in the bottom, in the housing area. It caught fire, a huge explosion, and it was set off, honest to gosh, by a candle. It sent the 13 men falling 538 feet to their deaths. Not only that, but they blew up the pumping thing. They couldn't pump the water anymore. The whole center shaft filled with water, and the bodies raised up out of there. Shut the tunnel down for 1 year. And when the last body came to the top, which was 1 year ago, after the accident, they decided to reopen and do the work. But that entire year that the bodies were surfacing and they were looking for them, people could hear strange wails coming from the center shaft. But when the last body was recovered, all the wails stopped. So the story says. Other people contradict that. We're here to see if it's true. These granite and brick walls they took to construct took over 20 million brick to complete this here. And then now we're crossing into where it's actually the solid granite roof and walls of the actual construction. And boy, I'm going to tell you, you feel an enormous amount of pressure in here. I feel pressure like in my head. I feel pressure all over my body. You can feel the spirits in here. You can feel it. It's incredible. I'm standing in one of the storage areas here in the Hoosac Tunnel. We're probably in not quite 2 miles, but definitely over a mile according to my calculations. This is our first storage area that we found, and this one's sealed off by granite rock. So they must have stored something in here of significance that they would need, maybe tools. So let's continue on to the bloody pit. Hey, look what I found. What the heck is this? Hey, there's a telephone in here. Look at this. Wow. I guess if there's trouble, we can phone home, huh? Well, we're not gonna disturb that. So we're in one of these storage areas. This one's a little bit larger, and you can see the granite walls. You can see the electric wires where they used to have electricity here. I highly doubt that phone works. Do you know when this rail system was in its heyday, they used to have 70,000 cars go through here a month. The center shaft, they put a fan in, and it still really wasn't, good enough to get all of the smoke out that a lot of these trains, their boiler systems would just like shut down because there was no oxygen to burn. The railway crews had to lie on the floor to get breathable air. Unbelievable. And they were going so slow, they didn't know how fast they were going, so what they had to do was take a broomstick and touch the sides of the granite wall as they were going to see if the train was even moving because it was so bogged down because of lack of air. It's damp, it's cold in here. It was about 80 degrees outside. I think it's probably like 50 in here. And it is raining from the ceilings on us, so like I'm getting all wet, but we're going to continue on. We believe there's a train company coming right now, and we're in one of these areas. We believe this is the central shaft. There's a train rumbling towards us, so we have to stay pinned up against the wall here. We're not quite all the way in the back of the shaft. This is really exciting.
Is that the train?
That's a train.
No, I can see it. Now I can see.
Here at the center shaft. This is what they call the bloody pit. I'm going to get out my paranormal equipment. We're going to test this area here, and then I'm going to heal with crystal water, which is something new. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may not.
You can really see it. Sounds like footsteps up there, though.
Use my EMF meter to see if we can take some readings here in the central shaft. Also known as the Hoosac Hotel. Walkers used to come to this area and rest a bit. Looks kind of rough. Let's see what we have here. Nothing here. Oh, it's moving here. But nothing of value. No. Sometimes Believe it or not, sometimes with EMF meters, and I know people are going to argue with me about this, but sometimes I just don't even think they're worth their salt. Take some pictures. See if we have any energy in the area here. You know what? I trust my heat meter. I've had it for many years. It has never let me down. A fluctuation of 5 degrees either way always means, at least to me, a spirit around. I have a little laser pointer on it. 51, 51. I was right, it's about 50 degrees in this tunnel. Close to 80 outside. 1, 2. 60, 60, oh, 60, 60, 64. Okay, time for a photograph. Let's take a picture now. I'm going to use my Polaroid camera for this. This is an awesome thing. And again, a lot of people seem to want to go with the digital and all of that. And you know what? And that's really cool. I believe in using all formats in all mediums because you can't, in an edit, mess with Polaroid and Instamatic. You can with digital photography. Let's see. This is the direction. Let's do another one over this way too, okay? I also would like to do one up into the shaft itself, where that accident was. Okay. You know, when they said it was a hotel, I thought we'd have like great accommodations or somewhere. It was like a little hole in the wall with a stone bench, but you know what? I don't know what to say, but it's some place to at least get out of the way of the trains. Okay, we're going to let these develop. Let's see what we have. Mr. G, can you hold the flashlight, please? Point it up towards the center shaft. I'm going to go up there to do my EVPs. We come in peace. Can you hear us? Are you here with us? Did you die here? I can feel your energy. I can. Are you here? Guys, can you hear like footsteps like coming from up that center shaft here? And it's about all I hear is like footsteps up there. Can't be footsteps, it's in a shaft. This is ridiculous. But I do, I hear something like thud, thud, thud. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, I was hearing that before the train came by. When we first came in here, yeah.
Before the train came.
I hear it again. It's not constant or steady, but it's definitely noise. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's get back down here and evaluate what we have as far as pictures and things. Okay, I'm filthy. All right, let me, let's check the pictures. You know, as usual, cameras and film always screw up, it seems. These pictures totally black, which is odd because it had a flash, so it should have been at least something on the pictures, and they all look dark and black. With the pictures not coming out and the fluctuation in temperature, that means that there's an entity here, or entities here. My crew did hear sounds up into the shaft earlier. That stopped. When I went up into the shaft, as you saw me doing the EVPs, I started hearing it almost like footsteps, but that's odd because it's a shaft that comes down from the top of the mountain. So that's kind of weird. We will listen to the EVPs when we do get back to the studio, and we're going to look at the other pictures when we're like in daylight back at the studio. What I'm going to do right now is healing in here. That's what the Huntress is all about, healing spirits. Today's application is going to be something very special, and I want to explain just a little bit about what I'm going to do so I don't freak you out. Ooh. This is a quartz crystal right here, beautiful stone. Quartz crystals resonate and transform energy. Quartz crystals are great to communicate with the spirit world. They're great to heal energy and spirit. They're great for all people. All kinds of people throughout the whole world can benefit from quartz crystal. What I did was I programmed this crystal. I programmed it with love, healing powers, freedom, the feeling of safety, the feeling of forgiveness. Why forgiveness? Because as I did research on the Hoosac Tunnel and the people that died here, I felt them telling me that they needed forgiveness. Odd, huh? They needed forgiveness because they felt guilty because they left their families when they died so suddenly in these accidents here. Therefore, I programmed it with forgiveness. I also programmed it with the ability for them to go to the light only if they wanted to. Now, with all healings, I give the application, I leave it here for all eternity. So when the spirits need it, they can come forward and take it. Feel the comfort, feel the warmth and the love, and know that everything's okay. What I did after I programmed my crystal is I put it in mountain spring pure water. I created what they call crystal water, and I have that right here. In other words, it's like an elixir. I have it right here. And crystal water is great. It's got a lot of benefits. In fact, my crew and myself had a little bit of this on our tongue so we would be safe when we came in. And you know what? You did see the train go by. We just made it into the shaft here right before the train came by. So it did guide us and it did save us. What I'm going to do is anoint the walls here in the sacred area where people died. And that's what I'm going to do now. You are free. You are safe. You've been given forgiveness, free of guilt, free to go to the light, all the sorrow, strife, and what you felt while this tunnel was being constructed are gone. Freedom exists only now. And now I'll pray. Thank you for allowing me to do this healing and to free these souls and bring them comfort. And for the ones that didn't accept, let them take it at their own will and be free. What I want to do now is I want to see if the healing did any good to the spirits here in the Hoosac Tunnel, the bloody pit, the Hoosac Hotel. And how I'm going to achieve those results are by dowsing rods, which have been used for thousands of years to detect energy. What I'm going to do is ask the spirits here in the Hoosac Tunnel area if they feel a difference. Are they calmer? I feel calmer, but that doesn't mean that they do. So I'm going to ask, and if they do, they will move these dowsing rods. I have to concentrate and think and ask the spirits. To all the spirits that suffered here in the Hoosac Tunnel during its construction, during the explosions, the accidents, the fires, the people blowing up their friends, whoever died in here, whatever spirit can hear me and that has been healed by the crystal water and the blessing I gave you, give us a signal. If you have been healed and you feel calmer, please move the dowsing rods. If you've been healed, move the dowsing rods. Move them. Move the dowsing rods if you've been healed. Wow. Okay. Great. They're still moving. Oh, this is so cool. Wow. That's a really good feeling. I'm dirty. I'm tired. We've got another 2.5 miles to get out of here. We're walking clear across to the other side. We're going to the east portal. Pray that we don't get hit by a freight train. My work is done here. We've come to do what we're supposed to. We've seen scientifically if there are spirits, which we've seen. You've seen the healing with the crystal water and the proof through the dowsing rods that the spirits are calm and they're happy. Now let's go to the east portal. Oh my God.
There's a volcano.
Well, we made it. We're on the other side of the Hoosac Tunnel. Took us quite a while to get here. We walked 4.174 miles from the west portal all the way to the east portal. Now remember, the west portal is over there in North Adams, Massachusetts, and the east portal is right here in Florida. Wow. Whew. Anyways, we got a lot of pictures. We have our sounding devices that we have to listen to. Also the EVPs we have to listen to. So we're going to head back to the studio right now and we're going to listen to all the information and then I'm going to present my findings. Oh, wow. Before we start our findings, I want you to know one thing, and that is do not enter the Hoosac Tunnel. The reason being is because you need permission. It's private property. You're taking your life into your hands. You will be arrested or killed by the train. We had 2 narrow escapes. This is a no-joke situation. Now on with the findings. With our EMF meter, it didn't really register that well. But the digital camera, on the other hand, did. As you can see in the first picture here very clearly, there is on the left side bright blue orb. This was a really good orb. Now the next picture here we have, and if you look, you'll be able to see 4 separate orbs. I have arrows pointing to them. Now in this next picture, again on the left side, we have another orb.
And here's an orb we captured flying by on the granite wall. I've slowed the footage down so you can take a closer look.
My heat meter never fails me, and like I said, I have had this for many years. We got a 13-degree fluctuation, which always proves to me that there's an entity present. Watch the clip again. 2, 1, 60, 60, oh, 60, 60, 64. Okay, time for a photograph. Let's take a picture now. And then I took out my trusted Polaroid camera. Well, it wasn't so trusty that day in the tunnel because all of the Polaroids in the center shaft that were taken came out black.
Unlike the Polaroids in the center shaft that came out black, this particular one on the walk-in did not. Notice the ecto mist on the walls.
Now we did the EVPs right in the center shaft. Didn't get anything picked up on an EVP in the center shaft. But what we did hear were footsteps. Now my photographer heard footsteps when we first got there. I'm going to play that right now.
Sounds like footsteps up there though.
And you heard me clearly say, I hear footsteps. Here's that clip again. Guys, can you hear like footsteps like coming from up that center shaft here? And it's about all I hear is like footsteps up there. Can't be footsteps, it's in a shaft. This is ridiculous. But I do, I hear something like thud, thud, thud. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, I was hearing that before the train came by. When we first came in here, yeah.
Before the train came.
I hear it again. It's not constant or steady, but it is definitely noise. Interesting, very interesting. Okay. And now with the continuous audio that we had running the entire trip, we listened to it, we caught, and what they called it is it's a type of EVP. The classification would be a B, not an A, it's a B. You can hear my voice, you can hear a voice right behind my voice, sounding like my voice, almost like an echo. And that echo of my voice morphs into a male's voice. What that spirit is doing is called morphing. That's the classification. Listen to this. We've slowed it down quite a bit. I want you to listen to it a few times and you'll be able to hear the spirit making the sounds of my voice and then morphing into another voice. He's being very mischievous. Let's do another one over this way too, okay?
And I'll do bullshit.
Let's do another one over this way too, okay? And I'll do bullshit. Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this way too, okay? Let's do another one over this
And I'll do Hossac. Let's do another one of those. Berkshire.
the voice echoes. It echoed nowhere else when we were producing this video. The only ones there was my assistant and my videographer standing behind the camera. You heard the voices come from in front of the camera where I was. There was a real strange thing that did happen to us in the tunnel. And what I'd like you to do, honest to gosh, rewatch the entire segment and tell me where the time went. 2 to 3 hours of our time has been lost. We went in the tunnel at 12 o'clock. We came out at 6:47 p.m. I mean, none of this should have taken this long. It shouldn't have. We calculated our time in excess, like we give ourselves a half an hour more to do everything. We thought we had track of every bit of time. But when we came out the other end, 2 to 3 hours were gone. They say sometimes that happens with alien abductions. I really don't think there are any aliens in the Hoosac Tunnel. I'm not sure what happened. Not in the least. But I will tell you this. After we got done our healing and we were venturing out to the east portal, our hands went numb. It was extremely, extremely cold there. And then all of a sudden we had this urge to run, and we ran darn fast, and we just barely made an inlet to hide from the second freight train that went by. It was truly unbelievable. If any of you have ever heard of this phenomenon, losing time, I'd appreciate that you contact me through the website, ccthehuntress.com. And another incredibly odd thing that happened to us there was when we got to the center shaft, my hair wasn't blowing in the wind. When the train went by, we were 5 to 6 feet into the center shaft. There's no wind. The train goes by, we return back into the center shaft to start the investigation. And all of a sudden now the train has already gone by, it's been by at least 10-15 minutes because we needed it a bit quiet to be able to film for the microphones. And all of a sudden this wind picked up. It was icy, icy cold, and I want you to watch this clip. You can see my hair is blowing all over the place for no reason. It was unexplained wind, and then it died down as quick as it came. We're here at the center shaft. This is what they call the bloody pit. I'm going to get out my paranormal equipment. We're going to test this area here, and then I'm going to heal with crystal water, which is something new. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may not. Now you have to remember, this tunnel is 4.75 miles through the Hoosac mountain range, and there's no wind there in the middle of the tunnel 2.5 miles in, so we don't know where the wind was coming from, but that was something that we have never experienced, and I do believe it was the spirits letting us know they were there through the forces of nature, through wind. Now for the healing, we all saw what I used. It was an elixir made of crystal water. Very loving healing for the spirits. You're able to leave it there for all eternity. In case some spirits didn't want to take it, they may take it at another time, and it'll work all the time. And you saw the proof in the dowsing rods. Go back and watch my hands. They do not move. It was just the dowsing rods moved by the energy of the spirits. And remember, dowsing rods have been used to detect energy for thousands of years. If you've been healed, move the dowsing rods. Move them. Move the dowsing rods if you've been healed. Wow. Okay. Great. They're still moving. Oh, this is so cool. Now you've seen all our findings. You've listened to what happened in that tunnel. I cannot urge enough that you get permission, because it's either be arrested or killed. There are no other alternatives there. We feel the spirits were with us, protecting us and guiding us in the Hoosac Tunnel. And again, like I've said on many of my programs, and I mean the bottom of my heart, death doesn't always end suffering.